Welcome to my channel, Lobby 22. Hold on because it's going to be something incredible. Jake Turner could read a lie in a heartbeat until a cryptic text on his wife's phone exposed a betrayal that shattered his world. He's clueless, it read. Ghost says we move tonight. Now, with 24 hours to outsmart his enemies, Jake's fight for justice begins. Jake Turner, 38, was a legend at the FBI's Miami field office. His knack for decoding human behavior had cracked cases others couldn't touch. 10 years married to Emma, a sharp-witted journalist, and a rock-solid bond with Ryan, his former partner-turned-private investigator, made his life seem unshakable. Their beachfront condo in South Beach was the envy of friends, a slice of the American dream. But dreams, Jake knew, could hide nightmares. For weeks, Emma had been off. Her late-night deadlines grew frequent, her phone glued to her hand, passcode changed. Ryan, usually a confidant, dodged Jake's calls, citing big cases. Jake's profiler instincts flared, but he dismissed it. Stress, he told himself. Until last night. Returning early from a sting operation, Jake found Emma asleep, her phone on the nightstand. A notification flashed. He's clueless. Ghost says we move tonight. Jake's heart sank. He unlocked the phone. Emma's new passcode was their anniversary, a cruel irony. The text thread revealed a plot. Emma and Ryan, working with someone called Ghost, planned to frame Jake for embezzling FBI funds. The payoff? For $1 million. Jake's blood ran cold. Betrayal wasn't just personal, it was deadly. His career, his freedom, his life were at stake. He copied the texts to a secure USB, his hands steady despite the rage boiling inside. Confronting them now would tip his hand. He needed proof, leverage, and a plan. Jake didn't break, he calculated. He rigged a discreet audio recorder in their condo's living room where Emma often took calls. By morning, it captured her whispering. Ryan, Ghost wired the first $500,000. Once Jake's arrested, we're clear. Jake's jaw clenched. Arrested? This wasn't just a scam, it was a setup to bury him. He cross-checked Ryan's recent cases, nothing legit. Ryan was freelancing for Ghost, whoever that was. Jake invited Emma and Ryan for drinks at the condo, playing the oblivious husband. Missed you both, he said, pouring wine. Emma smiled, flawless in her deception. Ryan fidgeted, avoiding Jake's gaze. The wine was clean, Jake wasn't a monster, but the conversation was his trap. Heard about a big case? Jake probed, watching Ryan. Anything juicy? Ryan stammered, just routine stuff. Emma changed the subject. Jake steered them to the living room, near the recorder. Got a weird tip at work, he lied. Someone's skimming FBI accounts. Know anything? Emma's smile froze. Ryan coughed, spilling his drink. Nope, Emma said, too quickly. Jake's recorder caught it all, their nerves, their lies. He excused himself, uploading the audio to a cloud server. If Ghost moved first, the truth would outlive him. His phone pinged a tip from an FBI tech, Mia. Found a burner phone linked to Ryan. Traced it to a warehouse in Wynwood. Be careful. Jake grabbed his stunned device and headed out, the Miami night alive with danger. The warehouse was a graffiti-streaked shell, its windows dark. Inside, he found crates of burner phones and a laptop. Hacking it, he uncovered emails. Ghost to our frame Turner. Evidence planted in his office for $1 million on delivery. Jake's heart raced. The FBI was his life, now it was a trap. He downloaded the emails, but a shadow moved behind him. He spun, stunning a thug before he could draw. Who sent you? Jake hissed, pinning him. The man gasped, Ghost. Knows you're here. Jake zip-tied him, calling Mia. Got a suspect. Wynwood warehouse. Send a team. Mia's voice was tense. Jake, this is bigger than you think. Ghost has connections high up. As sirens neared, Jake slipped out the emails as lifeline. Emma and Ryan thought they'd outplayed him. Ghost thought he was untouchable. They were wrong. Jake wasn't just fighting for his name, he was hunting a conspiracy. Back at the condo, Emma was still asleep, unaware of the storm coming. Jake stared at her, the woman he loved, now his enemy. The game had just begun. Jake Turner sped through Miami's neon-lit streets, the warehouse's revelations burning in his mind. The emails on the laptop confirmed it. Emma and Ryan, his wife and best friend, were pawns in a plot to frame him for embezzling FBI funds orchestrated by the elusive Ghost. The $4 million payoff and planted evidence in his office meant Jake's career and freedom hung by a thread. His profiler instincts screamed, find Ghost, expose the truth. The clock was ticking. Jake parked in an alley near his South Beach condo, checking the burner phone he'd swiped from the warehouse thug. One message glowed, Ghost to R, meet at Eclipse Club, 1 a.m. Bring the drive. Ryan was R, and the drive likely held the fake evidence to sink Jake. The Eclipse Club was Miami's underbelly, a hotspot for deals too dirty for daylight. Jake had 90 minutes to prepare. He slipped his stun device and recorder into his jacket, his mind racing through every angle. Ghost was close and Jake was ready to turn the hunter into the hunted. At the condo, Emma was in the kitchen, oblivious, sipping coffee. "You're up late," she said, her smile a perfect mask. Jake mirrored it, hiding his rage. "Work's intense," he replied, watching her micro-expressions, a slight lip twitch, eyes darting to her phone. She was nervous. "Big plans tonight?" he asked, testing her. Emma shrugged. "Just meeting a source." "Liar." Jake nodded, excusing himself to his study. He checked the recorder from last night, more whispers of her and Ryan planning with Ghost. Evidence was piling up. Jake arrived at the Eclipse Club, its neon sign buzzing like a warning. The crowd pulsed with energy, but Jake's focus was surgical. He flashed a fake ID to bypass security, slipping into the VIP lounge. Ryan stood in a corner, clutching a USB drive, scanning the room. Jake stayed in the shadows, his recorder on. A man approached Ryan, tall, slick, with a scar across his cheek. "Not Ghost, but a middleman." "You got it?" the man asked. Ryan nodded, handing over the drive. "Tell Ghost it's clean." "Jake's done." Jake's blood boiled, but he held steady. He followed the middleman to a back room where a laptop glowed. The man plugged in the drive, revealing forged documents, bank transfers in Jake's name, tied to offshore accounts. Jake's frame-up was airtight unless he acted now. He texted Mia, his FBI tech, "Eclipse Club, back room. Fake evidence on a USB. Move in." Mia replied, 10 minutes out. "Don't do anything stupid." The middleman left the room and Jake slipped in, downloading the drive's contents to his own device. A noise behind him, Ryan. "Jake?" Ryan's voice shook, his eyes wide with panic. "What are you doing here?" Jake spun, stun device ready. "I know everything, Ryan. You and Emma." "Ghost." "The frame-up." Ryan stammered, "It wasn't my idea. Ghost threatened us, said he'd ruin us." Jake didn't buy it. "Who's Ghost?" he demanded. Ryan's gaze darted to the door. "I don't know his face. He calls, gives orders. Said you crossed him years ago." Jake's mind flashed to the Alvarez case, a money laundering ring he'd busted 3 years back. Had he missed someone? Before Ryan could say more, the middleman returned, spotting Jake. "Intruder," he barked, reaching for a weapon. Jake stunned him, grabbing the USB drive. Ryan bolted, but Jake didn't chase. FBI sirens were closing in. Outside, chaos erupted as agents swarmed the club. Jake handed Mia the drive. "Fake evidence to frame me," he said. "Trace it." Mia nodded, her face grim. "This is big, Jake. The account's linked to a shell company, Spectre Holdings. Ghost is tied to it." Jake's got twisted. Spectre Holdings had surfaced in the Alvarez case, a ghost in the shadows. "Find their server," he told Mia. "I'm going after Ryan." Jake tracked Ryan to a dive bar in Little Havana using a GPS tag he'd slipped into Ryan's pocket during the chaos. Ryan sat alone, nursing a drink, his face pale. Jake slid into the booth, voice low. "Last chance, Ryan." "Who's Ghost?" Ryan's hands shook. "I swear, I don't know. He contacted Emma first, offered millions to set you up. Said you ruined his empire." Jake leaned closer, reading Ryan's fear genuine. "Where's Emma now?" Ryan hesitated. "With Ghost. He's got a safe house in the Everglades." Jake's phone buzzed Mia. "Spectre's server is in an old data center, Everglades. Heavily guarded. Wait for backup." Jake ignored the warning. The Everglades was a maze of swamps and secrets, perfect for Ghost. He drove, the city fading into dark, twisting mangroves. The data center loomed, a concrete bunker lit by floodlights. Guards patrolled, armed but unaware. Jake slipped through, using the shadows. Inside, servers hummed, their glow eerie. Jake hacked a terminal, finding a file labeled Turner. It detailed his life, cases, routines, even his marriage. Ghost had been watching for years. A voice cut through the dark. "You're persistent, Turner." Jake spun, facing a woman, Emma. Her eyes were cold, no trace of the wife he loved. "You're Ghost?" Jake asked, stunned. Emma smirked. "Not quite. But I run his ground game." Jake's world tilted. Emma wasn't coerced, she was complicit. "Why?" he whispered. Emma stepped closer. "You were always the hero, Jake. I wanted power. Ghost offered it." A guard appeared, but Jake stunned him, his focus locked on Emma. "The FBI's coming," he said. "You're done." Emma laughed, but her voice wavered. "Ghost's bigger than you know." Sirens wailed, Mia's team. Emma fled, but Jake let her go. He had the file, the truth. Jake Turner crouched in the Everglades data center, the hum of servers drowning out the distant FBI sirens. Emma's betrayal cut deeper than any blade. His wife of 10 years wasn't just complicit. She was Ghost's right hand, orchestrating a plot to frame him for embezzling FBI funds. The file on the terminal detailed his life, proof Ghost had stalked him for years. Jake downloaded it to a USB, his profiler instincts screaming. Emma's reveal was a distraction. Ghost was still out there, and the conspiracy ran deeper. As agents stormed the bunker, Jake slipped out, blending into the swamp's shadows. Emma had vanished, her taunt, "Ghost's bigger than you know," echoing in his mind. His FBI tech, Mia, met him at a safe house in Miami's Coconut Grove. "The file's a goldmine," she said, scanning her laptop. "It ties Spectre Holdings to the Alvarez case you busted 3 years ago. Ghost isn't one person, it's a codename for their top operative. The real power's a group called the Syndicate." Jake's got twisted. The Alvarez case had exposed a money laundering ring, but he'd never traced its backers. Spectre Holdings was their front, and now they wanted him erased for disrupting their empire. "Any leads on the Syndicate?" he asked. Mia nodded. "The file mentions a meeting, Key Biscayne, tomorrow night. Private estate. But it's a fortress, Jake. Wait for backup." Jake shook his head. Waiting meant losing Emma and Ghost. He drove to Key Biscayne, the island's mansions glowing under starlight. The estate was a sprawling compound, guarded by drones and armed patrols. Jake used a signal jammer from Mia to disable the drones, slipping through a service gate. Inside, the mansion buzzed with elite guests, business tycoons, politicians, and worse. Jake posed as a caterer, his recorder hidden, scanning for Emma or Ghost. A man's voice cut through the crowd. "Turner's close. End him." Jake followed the voice to a study where Ryan stood, pale, arguing with a woman, Emma. "We can't kill him," Ryan hissed. "He's on to us." Emma's eyes were steel. "Ghost demands it. The Syndicate won't tolerate failure." Jake's heart sank. Ryan wasn't coerced, he was in deep, but cracking. Jake stepped in, stun device ready. "Game's up," he said. Emma spun, unfazed. "You're predictable, Jake." Ryan froze, guilt etched on his face. Before Jake could act, a guard burst in. Jake stunned him, but Emma grabbed a flash drive from the desk and bolted. Ryan lunged at Jake, desperate. "I didn't want this," he yelled, swinging wildly. Jake dodged, pinning him. "Who's Ghost?" he demanded. Ryan gasped, "I don't know." Emma reports to him. "He's at the estate, upstairs." Jake zip-tied Ryan, texting Mia, "Key Biscayne estate. Emma's got a drive. Syndicate meeting. Now." Jake pursued Emma through the mansion, her red dress a beacon in the chaos. She darted upstairs into a private office. Jake followed, finding her at a laptop, uploading the drive's data. "Stop," he said, voice low. Emma smirked, but her hands shook. "You're too late. The Syndicate's untouchable." Jake read her fear, she was trapped, just like him. "Why, Emma?" he asked, voice breaking. 10 years. Was it all a lie? Emma's mask cracked. "I wanted out, Jake. Your world, always the hero, never the reward. Ghost promised power, freedom." Jake stepped closer. "And now? You're his pawn." Emma's eyes glistened, but she hit send, uploading the file. Alarms blared, security was coming. Jake grabbed the laptop, stunning a guard at the door. Emma slipped past, but Jake let her go. The file was his leverage. Outside, FBI agents swarmed the estate, Mia leading the charge. Jake handed her the laptop. Emma uploaded something, track it. Mia's team arrested Ryan and several guests, but Emma and Ghost were gone. Back at the safe house, Mia cracked the laptop's data. The drive had Syndicate names, financiers, cartel heads. But the upload went to a server in the Bahamas. Ghost's base. Jake's jaw clenched. The Bahamas was a needle in a haystack, but he'd find it. Jake's phone buzzed, an anonymous text. "You're digging too deep, Turner. Back off or your sister pays." His sister, Lily, lived in Tampa, unaware of his world. Jake called her, heart pounding. "Lily, get somewhere safe. Now." Her voice trembled. "Jake, what's happening?" He hung up, texting Mia, "Ghost threatened my sister. Bahamas server. I'm going." Mia replied, "Wait for us." But Jake was already moving. At Miami's private airfield, Jake boarded a chartered plane, the Syndicate's file his guide. The Bahamas server was on a private island, a fortress of wealth and secrets. As the plane soared, Jake replayed Emma's words, "Ghost promised power." She wasn't just betraying him, she was climbing a ladder of blood. Ryan's guilt, Emma's ambition, the Syndicate's reach, it all pointed to Ghost, a phantom from his past. Jake wasn't running. He was hunting. Jake Turner's chartered plane cut through the night, bound for a private island in the Bahamas. The Syndicate server, hidden in a fortress of wealth, held the key to unmasking Ghost, the mastermind behind the plot to frame him for embezzling FBI funds. Emma's betrayal, revealed as his wife's climb for power, and Ryan's conflicted loyalty stung. But the anonymous threat to his sister, Lily, lit a fire in Jake. The syndicate's elite meeting in Key Biscayne had exposed their reach, but Ghost was still a shadow. Jake's FBI profiler instincts were razor-sharp. This ended tonight. The island emerged, a speck of light in the Caribbean dark. Jake landed at a private airstrip, posing as a maintenance worker with a forged ID from his hacker contact. Jinx. The server compound was a sleek, high-tech bunker, ringed by armed guards and cameras. Jake slipped a signal jammer into his pocket, his stun device and recorder ready. Mia, his FBI tech, had texted, "Bahamas servers live. We're mobilizing, but you're on your own for now. Don't die." Jake didn't reply. He was done waiting. Slipping through the jungle fringe, Jake jammed the outer cameras, scaling a wall to enter the compound. Inside, the server room hummed, its glow eerie against steel walls. He hacked a terminal, pulling up the syndicate's files. Names flashed, global financiers, cartel lords, even a rogue senator. One file stood out, Operation Cleanse, Eliminate J. Turner. It detailed his FBI cases, including the Alvarez bust that had crippled their money laundering ring. Ghost wasn't just after revenge. He was erasing threats to a new empire. A footstep echoed. Jake spun, stunning a guard before he could raise an alarm. The guard's radio crackled. "Ghosts in the control room. Check the servers." Jake's pulse spiked. Ghost was here. He moved silently, following signs to the control room. Through a glass door he saw a figure, tall, silver-haired, commanding. Not Emma. Not Ryan. It was Victor Crane, a disgraced FBI deputy Jake had exposed in the Alvarez case for taking bribes. Crane was Ghost. Jake slipped inside, recorder rolling. "Crane," he said, voice cold. "Or should I call you Ghost?" Crane turned, unfazed, a smirk curling his lips. "Turner, you're like a cockroach, impossible to kill." Jake stepped closer, stun device hidden. "You framed me. Used Emma, Ryan, the syndicate. Why?" Crane laughed. "You took my life, career, reputation. The syndicate gave me power. Framing you was just the start. You're a symbol of their failure." Jake's mind raced. Crane's betrayal ran deeper than Emma's. "The syndicate's done," Jake said, holding up the USB with their files. "FBI has this. You're finished." Crane's eyes narrowed. "You think I'm alone? The syndicate's a hydra. Cut one head, another grows." He pressed a button under his desk, triggering an alarm. Guards rushed in, but Jake was faster, stunning two and dodging a third. Crane bolted for a hidden exit. Jake pursued, the compound's corridors a maze of steel and glass. He caught Crane at a helipad, a chopper warming up. "You're not escaping," Jake shouted, tackling him. Crane swung a knife, grazing Jake's arm, but Jake disarmed him, zip-tying his wrists. "Your empire's over," Jake said, panting. Crane spat. "You'll never stop the syndicate. They own more than you know." FBI choppers roared overhead Mia's team. Agents swarmed the helipad, cuffing Crane. Mia ran up, eyeing Jake's arm. "You're insane, but we got the server data. Syndicate names, accounts, everything." Jake handed her the USB. "Crane's Ghost. He used Emma and Ryan to frame me." Mia nodded. "We're tracking Emma. Ryan's talking. Says she's headed to a safe house in Nassau." Jake boarded an FBI jet to Nassau, the syndicate's files burning a hole in his pocket. At a rundown safe house he found Emma, packing a bag. Her eyes widened. "Jake?" she whispered, stepping back. "How?" Jake's voice was ice. "Crane's in custody. The syndicate's exposed." "Why, Emma?" She sank onto a chair, tears falling. "I was tired of your shadow, Jake. Crane offered power, a new life. I didn't know he'd destroy you." Jake read her guilt, but no remorse. "You chose this," he said, tossing her a pair of cuffs. "FBI's outside. It's over." Emma cuffed herself, head bowed. As agents took her, Jake felt no victory, only loss. Back in Miami, Ryan faced him in a holding cell. "I was weak," Ryan muttered. Crane played us. Jake walked away silent. Their betrayal was a wound time wouldn't heal. The syndicate's files led to arrests across the globe, financiers, cartel heads, even the senator. Jake's name was cleared, but the cost was steep. He stood on his condo's balcony, Miami's lights flickering. The syndicate was wounded, but Crane's words haunted him. Another head grows. Jake wasn't naive. Ghost was gone, but the war wasn't. He'd be ready. Jake Turner stood on a deserted Miami beach, the dawn painting the ocean gold. Victor Crane's arrest as Ghost had cracked the syndicate's armor, exposing a global web of financiers and cartels. Emma and Ryan, his wife and best friend, faced prison for their role in framing him for embezzling FBI funds. Yet, Jake's FBI profiler instincts nod. The syndicate's warning, another head grows, meant the fight wasn't over. A new threat loomed, and Jake was ready to face it. Back at the FBI's Miami office, Agent Mia handed Jake a tablet. Crane's spilling, she said. The syndicate's got a backup plan, Operation Phoenix. A new leader, codenamed Shade, is taking over. They're meeting in Havana tonight to regroup. Jake's jaw tightened. Havana was a bold move just hours from Miami. The syndicate's files, seized from the Bahamas server, named Shade as a wild card, ruthless, invisible. Any ID on Shade? Jake asked. Mia shook her head. Crane's terrified. Says Shade's closer than we think. Jake's mind raced. The Alvarez case, which sparked this vendetta, had left loose ends. He'd busted a money laundering ring, but a silent partner had slipped away. Was Shade that ghost? His phone buzzed an encrypted message. Turner, you can't stop Phoenix. Lily's next. Jake's blood ran cold. His sister, Lily, was safe in Tampa under FBI protection, but the threat was real. He called her. Stay with the agents, Lily. I'm ending this. Her voice trembled. Be careful, Jake. Jake boarded a covert FBI flight to Havana, the syndicate's files his lifeline. Mia had traced the meeting to a colonial mansion in Old Havana, a front for black market deals. Cuban authorities are cooperating, Mia texted. But Shade's got eyes everywhere. Don't trust anyone. Jake landed at dusk, slipping into the city's vibrant chaos. He posed as a smuggler, using Jinx's forged papers to infiltrate the mansion's underground network. The mansion was a fortress, armed guards, hidden cameras, and a crowd of syndicate allies. Jake blended in, his recorder hidden, scanning for Shade. A woman's voice caught his ear, familiar, sharp. He turned, heart-stopping. It was Lena Alvarez, a figure from his past case, presumed dead after the bust. She was alive, commanding the room. Shade. Jake's profiler skills kicked in. She was poised, but her eyes flicked nervously. She knew he was close. Jake followed Lena to a private balcony, confronting her. Lena Alvarez, he said, voice low. Or is it Shade now? Lena's smile was ice. You ruined my family, Turner. The syndicate gave me a throne. Jake's recorder captured every word. You framed me, threatened my sister. It ends here. Lena laughed. You're alone, Jake. The syndicate owns Havana. She signaled and guards appeared, but Jake was ready, jamming their comms with Jinx's device. He stunned one guard, dodging another, and grabbed Lena's wrist. FBI's outside, he bluffed, reading her panic. Lena pulled free, tossing a flash drive to the floor. Take it, she hissed. It's Phoenix, every name, every plan. You'll never stop us. Jake pocketed the drive, but Lena bolted, vanishing into the crowd. Sirens wailed, Cuban police and FBI, tipped by Mia. Jake fought through the chaos, handing the drive to Mia as agents swarmed the mansion. Back in Miami, Mia cracked the drive. Phoenix is a takeover, new cartels, new markets. Lena's in the wind, but we've got enough to cripple the syndicate. Jake nodded, but his focus was on Lily. He drove to Tampa, finding her safe. It's over, he told her, hugging her tight. Lily smiled, but her eyes were wary. Is it Jake? He didn't answer. The syndicate was wounded, not dead. At the FBI, Emma and Ryan's trial loomed. Jake visited them in holding, needing closure. Emma's face was hollow. I lost myself, Jake, she whispered. I'm sorry. Ryan met his gaze, broken. I followed her, not Crane. My fault. Jake felt no pity. You chose betrayal, he said, walking away. Their sentences, years for conspiracy, were justice, not vengeance. The syndicate's arrests rolled on, from Havana to London, but Shade's escape gnawed at Jake. He moved to a quiet Key West bungalow, starting over. The ocean's rhythm soothed him, but his profiler mind never slept. The flash drive's data had saved his name, his life, but Lena's words haunted him, you'll never stop us. Jake wasn't naive. The syndicate would rise again, and Shade was out there, plotting. He kept his stun device close, his contacts alive. Betrayal had forged him Emma's ambition, Ryan's weakness, Crane's revenge, Lena's empire. He wasn't the hunted anymore. He was the hunter. Jake stared at the horizon, the sun rising. Justice wasn't a finish line, it was a fight. If the syndicate came, he'd be ready, his truth sharper than any blade. Miami's scars faded, but Jake's resolve burned bright. The game wasn't over, it was his to win.